Hello, everybody. Welcome to MedEd Unplugged, the first ever podcast series from SCOME Thailand. My name is Pomsit Richkamro, but feel free to call me by my nickname, Boss. I'm a first-year medical student from Julapur International College of Medicine, Thammasat University. I will be your host for today's episode. MedEd Unplugged is a platform on presenting medical education that most people may not know about, have the wrong understanding about, or just on topics that are interesting in the medical field. This is episode 3. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Dr. Tany Thaniyavarn, our favorite doctor from the United States. I'll hand over the mic to him for him to briefly introduce himself.
Well, thank you very much for having me today. My name is Tany Thaniyavarn, or I call myself Tany, and my nickname is Tan. I am a specialist in pulmonary and critical care and also have a subspecialty training in lung transplantation. And I used to be an attending at the Brigham and Women's Hospital, Harvard Medical School, and I used to be a lecturer over there. Right now, I left my career to pursue my next adventure, but hopefully in the same field. And I'm happy that I can share my experience with you today. If you have any questions or anything you would like me to share with you, feel free to ask and go forward.
Thank you so much. Okay, first question, how are you doing right now?
Obviously, right now I'm not working much, so it's a good life right now. And I plan to do more of my YouTube to encourage people to learn a bit more and also educate a lot of Thai peoples that way. And I have my routine, like in the morning, I do the YouTube live session so they can answer a question that you may have difficulties with. And that seemed to be a good balance of work. And also I do get some more exercise in the afternoon as well. So this is a good life right now.
I heard that you're moving to a new town. So how's the transition to your new town going?
Yes, so I'm currently in Atlanta. I moved here on the 9th of August, and the transition's been smooth. I used to live in Atlanta for 3 years where I did my fellowship. So I did my pulmonary critical care fellowship at Emory Hospital, and then I left to Duke for another training for lung transplantations. So I'm used to the town, and that's one of the reasons why I came back here. So I still have friends. I still have my attendings from my fellow training. So it's good. It's not so difficult. But obviously the town right now is like Thailand. It's pretty hot, and the traffic is similar to Bangkok. As if you can imagine how bad the Bangkok traffic is, Atlanta is quite similar in that way.
Okay, thank you. So let's start with our first topic. So why did you choose to become a doctor?
Well, I have to go back to when I was a kid. I really like science. So anything with science, I really want to do. So when I was in my high school, I would like to become either a doctor or an engineer or a physicist or something like that that has something to do with science. But back then, we have something called entrance exam in which you have to do the exam in order to get into university. And I have 3 subjects or 3 career paths in my mind. So one is to become a doctor, another is to become an engineer. And a third path, I don't think you know about it, or if you have heard my YouTube channel, I mention a lot that I would like to become an architect. So I thought I would use my score in entrance exam to determine which one that I would be qualified because I like all of them. And then it ended up like I qualified for all of them with the exact same score, equally high in each of the professions. So, well, then I have to think about, I have to drop 2 of them for sure, right? For the architects, I think I can keep that as my hobby because otherwise, if I keep doing the architecture or drawing or something like that, the job depends on your customer. If your customer doesn't like it, then you have to redo it again. So then it left me 2 choices, to become an engineer or to become a doctor. And then I was about to hand in my score, and I know that my score can get into both. You know what I did? I flipped the coin. That's one of the crazy thing. So if it's head, then I could become an engineer. If it's tail, then I become a doctor. And well, as you have guessed, I become a doctor, so it must have been tail. So yes, it was tail. And then I'm now a doctor. That's how I become a doctor.
Do you ever look back on your life if you flipped heads instead and became an engineer instead?
No, not at all. Well, I have made my decision. Like I like all of these professions. So the first step in how to make the tough decision for me, I have three steps. So step number one is to reason things out. So you list pros and cons out of each of your choices. And then if this doesn't settle your decision, then you move to the next one, which is, well, now you know you like all of them. You can bear the consequence of choosing one. All right. So the next step would be luck. So I use my luck. And if I choose to do the coin flip, and then whatever the result is, I regret or I think twice, like, hey, I should have gone to the other profession. At that point, I know at the moment that I don't like to become a doctor. I would want to become an engineer right away. So that's my third step. So the first, to list out or reason things out. Number two is to use luck. And if the lucks determine what you like and you really like it, you go for it. If your lucks come out like, yeah, I don't want this, then that's the third option. Like, okay, you go for the third step, meaning you have to go the opposite way of whatever luck chose for you. So I never have any regret. I never have to use my third step.
But you just went to luck. Okay, thank you so much. So I want to ask, when getting into medical school, right? Can you give us a little bit more details about yourself as a medical student? Did you pay attention in class? What was your learning style back then? Were the grades good?
Um, I was I have to say I'm very I actually pay a lot of attention in studying. So I never miss a class. I study beforehand. So I'm one of those nerds that love to study. However, I don't always show up on time. That's the bad thing about me. You don't want to imitate what I'm doing. So usually I arrive a little bit late. I usually goes to the back of the classroom, and sometimes the class already started. And sometimes I just eat in the class and I have some of my snacks. You don't want to sit in the front where your teacher can actually see you. So that's me. But not only I do study, I join every extracurricular activities as much as possible. So any sports, any competition that I joined, any IFMSA as you're doing, I join that, AMSA or whatever it is, then I join everything. So I don't like to just becoming only a student who's just studies. I think there's more to life than just becoming a doctor and study all the time.
How do you balance out the extracurriculars activities and studying?
To me, I don't think you need to balance it. Well, you need to do all of them at once. The more you do, the more it's going to teach you to become well-rounded, and it's also going to teach you how to manage your time wisely. I don't think there's no such thing as you don't have time. You always have time. It's just the matter of how to manage your time wisely, and that's how we can be good at everything. So you can imagine if you just study, well, you might be a good doctor, but your relationships with other people are not as good. And once you progress through your career and you're seeing real patients, you need to understand their needs, understand their families, understand whatever is beneath their mask. If you don't understand them, well, you might not have a good success in how to treat the patients. You might be a very knowledgeable doctors, but then you don't know how to treat the real patients in the real world, right? But if you were the opposite end, like you love to do all the activities, extracurricular activities, that is my thing, but I don't like studying, then you could become a dumb doctor, right? You really knows how to treat people in their life, but you have good intention to make them well, right? But then you don't have any knowledge to treat them well. So you might think, okay, I'm seeing this cancer patient. I know what the cancer is, but I just don't know what to say to the patient. But I just make up something that I can make people hear my words and they feel good. Whether that's good or not, I don't think so, because you might make them feel good, but it's not the right way to treat that patient. So you have to be good at studying and know your thing as well. To me, do all of them, you eventually learn to manage your time wisely anyway, if you do all of them. That's just me.
Did you ever feel when you were in extracurricular and at this time balance them out?
Of course, it's going to feel tired. Anytime you try to learn new trick, new skills, it's going to be tiring at first. That's normal, right? Just like when you try to run a marathon for the first time. The first day is always the toughest. How can you run maybe 5 kilometers if you never run before? You run 5 kilometers today, you be wrecked, right? The same thing as you're trying to attain the new skill of trying to balance both the studying and also the other activities. To me, it's always tiring. And then you have to find little times or details of how to make things more efficient. Let's say how to study quicker, how to memorize things a lot faster, how to guess what could be on your exam. And this way you create a shortcut for you to learn things, right? And how to use other people to help you out in terms of other activities. You cannot do it by your own. You need your friends. How to balance your sleep and also your body is strong, because if you do all of these and you never take care of yourself, you get sick at some point. You may be young in the first or second or third year, but let's be real. When you're young, nothing can happen. But when you hit your 25, your 30th year, your 40th birthdays, then the exact same thing's going to make you very, very tired if you don't take care of yourself from the beginning.
Could you give one tip from your experiences, one tip to the pre-clinic students and one tip to the clinic students?
For the preclinical year, I do not know whether you have the same structure as I did. So my first year was actually nothing. You just learn from kind of different thing that has nothing to do with medical stuff at all. Maybe just one subject that has something to do with medicine. But the second and third year are totally mind-boggling, because you start to study something so hard that you never imagined possible, and is a lot. Probably you're in the first year, you never experienced that, but wait until you get to your second year, like anatomy, physiology, and other stuff. They're like totally new to you, just learning a new language, like you're learning Chinese and Russian at the same time. That's how difficult it is. So to me, feeling stress, feeling difficulties, normal. You should feel that way. If you don't feel stress, you're an abnormal beast or something. You're not from this world. You're from outer space or something. So feeling stress is normal. It's normal to feel stress. Just don't give up. Look at the end. To me, this is going to be your first time feeling the real stress in your life. And that might not be it. You may have some difficulties in your life because studying is part of it. You might have some family difficulties, right? So some of your personal stuff that might be causing you to have difficulties as well. Some people have relationships during this time and they are not going well. And then you have to study at the same time and you cannot miss anything. So that's going to be tough. But to me, what I would suggest is, when you are facing with this situation, imagine why you want to become a doctor in the first place, why you want to enter this faculties, why do you want to become one of these CICM or other hospital that you join, right? Keep that in your mind. Use that motivation to move you along and look at the end. People always going to pass this point and they always going to look back and say, hey, it's nothing. Hardship right now or hardship this day in the future is gonna be a very nice tale or very nice story that you can tell other generations, like, hey, I have passed that point. Everybody can pass that point. So to me, focus on why you would become a doctor and then you'll be fine. And for the clinical year, well, once you start to get used to this basic science, right? The second year is the hardest. The third year may be the same exactly as second year, but now you're used to the difficulties of it. However, when you get to the fourth year, you will have another challenge, meaning when you compare you with your peers in other faculties, right? You compare yourself with your friends in engineering, in arts, in something. Their fourth year, they're pretty senior already, right? They know everything. They're ready for the real world, but you're not. You're just like a newbie in the entire medical field, you're the youngest of the young among the teams. So when you're fourth year, you feel useless. You feel that you don't know anything. You feel that your knowledge from the second and third year was worthless. That's a normal feeling. And when you see the real patients, you don't know exactly what you want to do about them. And when your attendings come over and talk to you, why don't you, go read the book? Have you read it already, or you have not read anything? Or what's going on with you, right? You face this kind of challenge all the time. To me, that's normal. I would like you as a clinical year to look at this difficulties in this way. Use this as the time that you can play around. What that means is you see the real patient, right? You think of that patient as your patient, not your resident, your fellow, your attending's patient. It's you, your patient. You own the patient. And what if it were you? How would you approach this patient? How would you treat? How would you find the knowledge? And obviously, I can tell you things that you don't know doesn't mean that other people's going to know it. There's going to be something that someone does not know about, something I might not even know about, right? Doctor is a lifelong learning process. So you see a patient, you have questions and you don't know what it is. Don't be discouraged if you go ask your attending and say, hey, this is easy, this is this, and you don't know about it. That's normal. Your job is to find out how to answer that question, how to come up with a question that's appropriate for your patients and treat that patient or diagnose that patient as if that patient were yours, right? And don't be afraid to make mistakes. So what I did was I go to ask the patient, do physical exam, history taking, make a plan, assess, and come up with a treatment or prognosis or whatever it is. And then I show this to my residents, say, hey, you have time? Can I talk to you? This is my plan. This is what I think about this patient. If I'm wrong, then I know what exactly I'm wrong. Then I go ask my fellow, go ask my attending, then I won't know exactly what I'm wrong and what I'm right? But if you do the normal thing that people usually do is this. This is the bad way to learn. When you start your fourth year, your seniors resident is going to come and tell you, hey, we have 10 cases. You each take 2. All right, you go take this pneumonia case. You go take this heart failure case, right? That's a bad way to learn because you already have a program in your head that I'm taking care of the COPD patient. I'm taking care of pneumonia patient. I'm taking care of the heart failure patients. How do you know that's heart failure? Maybe something else. Maybe your residence is wrong, right? And why is it the heart failure? How would they diagnose? Even if it's heart failure, how did they diagnose? How did they know exactly that that patient has heart failure? Maybe have something else, right? So what I did was that I tell my residents at that time, okay, before you give me any patient, just tell me one thing. Don't tell me the diagnosis. Tell me what symptoms brought the patient here, right? So next time the resident will come over and to our group say, hey, Tany, you go take this case. He has a fever of 3 months. We don't know what's going on. You go, figure it out. Or this guy has knee pain for 2 days. You go figure it out. Well, right? This way you look at the problem from the fresh eyes, and you try come up with treatment and everything. And this time you're protected. You're the youngest, right? You're protected. You're not going to be making decision by yourself, but you can try to make decision by yourself. And this is something I would like the clinical year to learn, because once you graduate the 6th year, you're on your own most of the time. So you have to be able to face uncertainties, new challenges, questions, or situation where you don't know exactly what's going on, but that's exactly what you have to face. You need to know how to learn in order to answer questions you do not know. That's would be my advice. If I were to go back in time and tell my younger self, that would be exactly what I would do. But well, that's exactly what I did anyway.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's move on to after medical school life. After you graduated, how did you design your future career path? Have you worked in Thailand before, or did you study abroad right away after graduating?
So I did serve the country for 3 years. Actually 5 years, not 3. So I went to Somdet Sriracha for 3 years. I did the first year is always like you rotate through major wards and everything, orthopedics, emergency department, and so on. And I stationed myself in medicine for the second and third year because I know exactly what I want to do. I want to do medicine for sure because I love thinking. I don't want to be operating all day long. I do not want to be dealing with babies or their parents. The only thing I like about babies is the neonatal intensive care unit, but well, I cannot be just doing that in ICU. I have to deal with kids and other stuff as well. So I know I don't want to become a pediatrician for sure. I don't want to do OBGYN because I don't want to deal with pregnant women, even though um, it was kind of funny because even though I hate OBGYN, I scored the highest in OBGYN of my class, which is weird, which I don't like it. But I want to become an internal medicine guy, so that's why I stationed myself there. I did not I did not come to the United States right away because I have not done my USMLE exam at all at that point. By the third year, most of my peers said, okay, why don't we just go and apply for residency in Thailand instead? Because since you have not done any exam, right, you're not qualified to go abroad for sure. So at that point, I thought I really want to go to United States where my parents did their education, but not in medicine or something. It has something to do with more um, business stuff. But I always want to come to the United States. So I spent the next 2 years prepared to come over here. So my after the third year, I still practice, but less so in the same hospital. I also do some part-times in other private sectors. Um, and all of these, the reason why I want to do all 3 years is I want to gain enough experience in the real world, which if you go to the United States right away after you grad, there's no way you're going to get exact same experience. Because at that time, I know exactly what Thailand's like and what the United States likes. Because Thailand back then is equivalent to United States 30 years ago, where when you graduate as a general practitioner, you do everything, surgery, anesthesia, and everything yourself. But in the United States, if you go directly to the United States, you come over right away, you're not supposed to be able to do that. They're prohibited because you're not specialist yet. So you will not be having the same experience as if you were in Thailand. So that's one of the reasons why I want to do all 3 years. And it gave me a lot of confidence of how to take care of varieties of patients. And that's something I really like about. And the last two, I just prepared for my USMLE, which I have multiple way of dealing with my own stress or how to make it work in order to come over. And that's one of the reasons why I actually have to wear a glass when I work, but now I don't have to. I never have to wear a glass before until I started to come to the United States.
Could you tell us about your process of getting into residency training in the US? Like how did you apply and like why did you apply to the US specifically, basically? Like what qualities that you need to have to get into the US?
Well, first of all, I always thought about coming to US because as you heard before, many of my families, including my parents, furthered their education in the US, and I always want to come to US. I never thought about other country like Canada, Australia, European country, England. I know that people went there for their medical training and other stuff as well, but it's not one of my choices because I never have any of my family or relative that goes there. So that's why I applied to the US. I don't want to be in Thailand because I want to open up my horizon. I know for the fact that if I'm in Thailand, I can be the best in Thailand, yes, not a problem, right? But that's it. You don't know how wide things are outside Thailand. You don't know how things are or how advanced or if there could be something totally new outside of Thailand, right? And I thought about, okay, if I come to the United States and I don't like it, I go back to Thailand, I still have better opportunity than people who graduate from Thailand. Why? Go to the big hospital in Thailand and ask them, who would you pick? United States grads or Thai grads, right? So if I go back to Thailand as a pulmonary critical care attending who grad from the United States, I have extra training in lung transplantations. Which hospital does not want to take me? None, right? But if you're like trained in Thailand, pulmonary critical care, yes. Can you go into every hospital in Thailand? It depends. It's either you have to be big names, a lot of experience, a lot of monies, a lot of like some back support, something like that, then you'll be able to get into a big hospital, but not always. So this gives me a leverage into getting to what I want. And that's one of the reasons why I come to the United States as well. The process is a little bit different because back then the USMLE is not pass and fail. We still go by percentile and the actual score. So you go by like 90 percentile or actual score of 200 something, but right now it's pass and fail, which to me is make things a lot more complicated. Back then, the difficulties about USMLE is if you pass the USMLE, that score that you pass will stick with you the rest of your life. Doesn't matter if you take the exam the second or third year and you get the higher score, your first score that pass is going to be your score that the application will register, right? For instance, if you want to go to the United States, you need to get good score. If you have bad score, well, the program here does not know Thailand, right? So how would they know that you are good? Well, from the score, obviously, right? And if your score is bad, they're not going to take you. And if your score, yes, I pass, right? I pass, but the score is like 200, below 200, something like that. Yeah, you pass, but then it's bad score. So you're not going to be able to get in that program. So the stress is to pass in the first attempt with the highest possible score you can get. If you are in the middle of exam, you don't know, and you think that you may fail, you may have bad grades, you better quit. Right out of the exam, if you pass with low score, your entire career is like shut down. So that was the difficulties back then. And to me, I was lucky enough that I get good score, so that's why I'm here anyway. But for the newer generation, since it's pass fail, then the emphasis would be placed on extracurricular activities. So you need to have good research, good, somewhat professional stuff, like volunteer in the professionals, something. You cannot just have, yeah, I have grades from my university, which is right now pass fail anyway, right? Some may have pass fail, excellent or something, or pass with merit or something like that, which I don't know what it is now. But that's the difficulties because here in the United States, we don't know you. You pass from Thailand. How can you pass in the United States? Maybe it's not the same pass. Maybe the quality is not the same. They have all the reason to doubt you. But if you prove them, hey, I did my research back in my third year, and my research got published in this journal, which has very high impact. Yes, this is the worldwide recognition of your qualities. So this will become one of the things that's super important for all of you guys. And I heard like many of the hospitals start to have elective for their students to be sent to different countries or programs to gain this experience. But don't take it lightly, because I think many people thought about elective as time to go to different countries and have some fun. Yeah, I just go with my friend. Five of my friends will go together to Japan, to Canada, and just have some fun. We go watch the games. That's actually what's determine your future, though. If you go watch your games and you studies, but you don't get anything out of that study, you're missing out if you want to come to the United States. Because at the end of the day, well, you go there, right? You have good stuff, but out of that, other than that, you don't have any research paper out of it. You don't have connections with that institution. You did not shine in that institution. You are like average student. You don't do anything. And that's not what you should be aiming for. So you go somewhere, go with intention. That intention goes a long way. And that would be my suggestion to all of you who want to, okay, I want to live here because my senior always go there and they looks good. They always have like drink beer, have some fun, play baseball. But yeah, think about different thing as well, especially if you want to open up your horizon by coming to the United States.
So basically, try to find an opportunity to do something when you're over there, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So last question before we get to the next topic. So you choose residency in pulmonary and critical care medicine and lung transplant.
So the residency is in internal medicine. So pulmonary critical care is actually after that. As I mentioned to you before, I chose internal medicine because I really like thinking about things. And it is the only professions where you don't, if you know more, it's actually better for your work, right? As a kid, I view a doctor as a doctor. I don't know whether there's specialties. I didn't even know like there's internal medicine, surgeon, stuff like that. I only know, well, we only have doctors, and doctors are supposed to know everything because that's how I view. So when I grown up, I thought about things as, well, if I'm a doctor, I would like to be that doctor who knows everything, or at least close to knowing everything. And what actually is closest to becoming that guy is internal medicine. So that's why I chose internal medicine. But then after you graduate internal medicine, it's still not enough for me. I want to go further. And how to take care of patients who are the sickest of the sick? Well, that's in the ICU, right? And pulmonary critical care allows me to do that. And in the ICU, I start to learn more of the sickest of the sick, which is fun. You know how to take care of them in different aspects of life. And then not only that, you still use your knowledge based on your internal medicine training. And if you know more, obviously you can do more. The patient's actually better if you know more, right? I also do pulmonary as well, which is part of the game. But once I graduate pulmonary critical care, that's still not enough for me. I want to go to the top, the most difficult things that I can put my hands on. Because I know that if you're in Thailand, you're not going to have this opportunity. If you come to the United States, you have the opportunity to come to the United States. Why don't you just go to the top if you can? And to me, the top is lung transplantation. And the reason for why I chose is, I think part of it is because I like it. And the second part is luck. So the reason why I like it is it has a lot of things to do with immunology and how your immune status is doing, and how it protects you, how it prevents you from having cancer, how to fight off things, and how the immune deficiency stuff works. And to me, if you put some other people's lung into you, how did that work? How do you make it work? And what entails, what kind of injury that you would do to the lungs that got transplanted in you? And that's kind of fascinating to me. I really like about it. And that's one of the reasons why I want to become a lung transplant pulmonologist. Well, the first thing is very exciting in terms of immunology. Second thing is very difficult. Not a lot of people would like to do it, but I like it. I like difficulties. And the third thing is luck. This is a little funny stuff. Like when I first start my pulmonary training, and my second rotation is advanced lung disease, which half will be pulmonary consultation and half will be inpatient for lung transplantations. And there's a case that my friend hand over to me. So before I start the rotation, the friends has to come back and say, here are your patient lists. This guy has this guy has another thing. So the third one, my friend said, here, we have the 69 years old guy who got lung transplant about 2 weeks ago, right? Things went well until one day he walks and then he collapsed. And then he went back to he was sent to the ICU. They put him on IV therapy. 6 hours later, he's like normal again, walk around the ICU, and then was sent out without knowing what he got. And then things happen like this again, 5 times in a row, and nobody knows what he has. In the United States, they run a lot of testing known to man to try to determine what he has. Because if this were to happen at home, he would have died. So no one is confident enough to send him home. And my friend told me, a lot of attendings have thought about this case. Nobody knows what's going on, but no one's wanted to send him home either, because then he would die at home if this were to happen at home. You go figure it out. So that's a sign that I got. You know what? I revert back to my training in Thailand, that my attendings always tell me that if you ask the right question, you always get the right answer. You need to know what you want to ask and what's the right question to ask. So I sit down with the patient, ask a bunch of questions, and eventually I figured out what it is. So this patient has something called transferred peanut allergy from the transplanted lung. So the donor has peanut allergy. The patient does not have peanut allergy. You transfer the lung from those who have peanut allergy to him, and whenever he has something that has peanuts in it, he can go to anaphylactic shock. So once I take his blood to my lab and run the sample myself, and so send another blood to the commercial lab, and we both confirm that he has peanut allergy. And we saved the patients. So that occurred within 1 day of me being on service, when he was there for a while and nobody knows what's going on with him. So I thought, well, this is fate. Well, I never had a proper training in lung transplantation before. This is the first time. How in the world am I be able to make this diagnosis if there's no divine things that tells me what you should be doing? Maybe transplant is right for you. And this kind of incident happened multiple times when I was on transplant service. So I said, okay, there's nothing else that I would do than transplant. That's how I become a transplant pulmonologist right now.
So why did you choose to work in an academic setting? Is it anything different from what you imagined at first?
Because a lot of sharp minds are in academic setting. So I chose to work in Harvard Medical School. Well, Harvard's the best, right? You want to work with the best and see what the best minds are thinking about. And it's fun because you're working with those who challenge you all the time. So you keep progressing. And that's why I want to become an attending in the academic setting.
Mm. Okay, let's move on to the start of the Dr. Tany YouTube channel. So why did you decide to make a YouTube channel?
As you probably know, that back in 2019, at the end of the year, the COVID-19 hits, and it hits the United States very hard, especially early in 2020. Back then in Thailand, there's no COVID yet. The COVID follows after. So I'm faced with the challenges the first hand. And then once COVID hit Thailand, there are a lot of misinformation, a lot of doubts, a lot of questions, even from my family. And I come from Chinese background, so I have a big family. And they send me a message, hey, Tany, what do you think about this? Can we go get that? Will these things help or not? I heard somebody say something about this. Is it true? I cannot keep answering question one by one because I have big family. So I thought about, okay, why don't I just make a video on YouTube answering all the questions, and you all go there and watch it, because this is coming from your own family, and I really want to educate my family with good intentions. I do not plan to answer a question for general public in the first place. So it was a good intention for my family. They go and they learn about things. And for some reasons, my video kind of leaked out to the public, and people start coming and start to like be engaging. And that's how I start my YouTube channel. And I thought about this as another way I can pay back for repay Thailand, where I graduated from my medical school back then. Because I'm now working in the United States, how can I repay my country, right? Should I go back to Thailand and become a doctor there because I know a lot? Like people ask, like, why don't you go back to Thailand and set up a lung transplant center, those kind of things. My thought is, well, Thailand is not ripe enough for me to go back and contribute. If I go there, maybe in one day I can see 30 patients and that's about it. But if I do YouTube channel, I give good educations, people are equipped with knowledge. I can do this like 10,000, 100,000, or even millions at the same time. That's even better because right now you don't have enough doctors. Even if you have a lot of doctors, they're in Bangkok area or big city. What about the smaller countryside? There's no doctors, no specialists, right? What if you can equip these people with knowledge? They know how to take care of themselves. They know the signs of things that start to get worse. They know where to get help. This would be a lot better, right? You can save a lot of patients without having to go back there in Thailand. Because if I go back to Thailand, I see 30 patients in a day. What about those millions others patients I cannot see? It's not possible that I can see everyone. And if I go back there and set my transplant center, I need a lot of support. I cannot just do it by myself. I need a lot of friends, professions, capitals, and stuff like that in order to do it. And that's why I chose to do my YouTube as both helping Thai people. That's why I speak in Thai language, although some of them I speak something in English as well. That's where it is.
Okay, so could you please tell me your impression of becoming a YouTuber? Like, what was it like at first, and like, how did it evolve, basically? How was your journey to becoming the YouTuber you are today, the YouTuber doctor that you are today?
At first, I always worry about should I be getting good cameras, lightings, programs, those kind of things, all the equipments that people thought about. But then um, I'm too lazy to do that. I just use my iPhone and just record everything. And it seemed to work well. So that was my first impression. And second, I am not sure what I should be saying or act or what my manner should be on YouTube. Should I be looking very professional, like wearing a scrubs or a white coat or something that looks very professional? But then, well, that's not me though. Initially, I was like that. So I was trying to become professionals. I wear a nice clothes and I speak in monotonous tone, not a lot of emotions, not a lot of engagement. But then I look at myself, this is boring. These days, people want knowledge. Yes, they want knowledge, but it has to be present in the way that they like to listen to it. Because otherwise, you have two teachers. They teach the exact same thing. One is more fun, one is not fun. You're gonna listen to those who are fun, and you can memorize things from the fun guy more than those who are like boring, right? So I start to change my style up a little bit. However, I have to reevaluate myself every now and then to make sure I don't say something just because I'm more famous at this point. Because fames can make people say whatever they're thinking in their mind. They can either be rude, they can sell goods, right? Sell a lot of products. A lot of doctors go into industry where they start to sell, okay, supplements. We have this course. You come join my course. I'm gonna teach you this and that. I don't want to come like those doctors because to me is not appropriate to do so to me. And then I also want to make sure that I don't want to use my reputation to say something that is baseless, right? I want everything to be evidence-based. I want everything to come from the literature, or at least something that's not in the literature I already thought about and come up with the ideas or have thought process. Because to me, these days, there are a lot of information out there that's is baseless claim, right? There's no evidence behind anything. And even if there's evidence, you need to know like how to evaluate your evidence. Maybe your research is a fraud or something, right? There are a lot of fraud out there. And that's why, knowing how to read the research paper is very important. That's what I want to convey a message to my listener as well. So coming from the background that I teach in the Harvard Medical School is we emphasize on how to read a paper properly. you need to know what are the summary of the paper, the result, the method, or what are the consequences of trusting the paper? What are the fraud or confounding factors or those kind of things? You need to know everything about that paper before you conclude something. And this is super important. That's why some of my YouTube channel, YouTube videos are me reading the paper alongside with you. And I point out what is the importance of certain things in that paper, right? I highlight what are limitations of the paper. I highlight what you can take from the paper. And this way is the best way that I can teach people to learn how to read the paper rather than I give you, here are 10 things that you should know about reading paper because, well, if I give you 10 things or 20 things, you will not be able to apply those to real paper until you see how the real stuff is being done yourself. That's why I do that for people. Um, and to me, right now, I'm quite satisfied. I know exactly, I gain more knowledge. I think I'm a better doctor right now just because I do YouTube Live and I get a lot of questions from different people. I know how they're thinking. I know what are the issues that's circulating in normal people's mind, which I never thought that would be a case. Like I never thought an anti-vaccine is a thing. I thought is, yeah, anti-vaccine, yeah, this is like for those who are like not educated at all. That's what my thought in the first place. Until I started my YouTube channel, there are a lot of anti-vax. So they're most of them, yes, they're undereducated, but there are a lot of them that are very, very well educated. But I don't know why they're still thinking like that. Right. So there are a lot behind that. That's how I learned more this way. That's where basically where it is. But I don't know if you were to have it, if you have any inputs or how I would improve myself, just feel free to comment.
How do you manage your own time? Can you share like your normal routine?
I would say I manage quite very well to me. As you know, I post something every day. It's either my live or my YouTube live or the video clip. And when I was an attending in transplant, when we are on service, we are on for 24/7. So I'm on service for typically 2 days to 2 weeks, depends. But most of the time it's 2 weeks straight. During these 2 weeks, you go to the hospital in the morning and take care of the patient until the evening. You leave the hospital, but you are still responsible for if something were to go wrong, they call you. Um, so I pre-record my video and I set the time. So this way, even though I'm on service and I don't have time to record anything, I can still release the video clip every single day. And I adjust myself on how to take care of the patient. So I go to the hospital super early in the morning, even before anyone else in the hospital. So I arrive hospital at 5 a.m. or even before that. I start reading about the patients that in on the service to see what's going on overnight. I prepare my note, I formulate the plan, and I tell my fellow that we're going to start rounding at 7 a.m. sharp. Doesn't matter if you're ready or not. So my fellows usually comes at 6 o'clock, 6:30 to just prepare stuff like that. But I already have planned in my mind. And then by 7 o'clock, I start rounding. Everything is done by around 10 o'clock. Then I can just, okay, see every patient, talk to other professions, come up with a plan. By 10 o'clock, I start typing all the notes, just finish all the notes because I already prepared. So that's all done. So by 11 to noon, I teach the fellow every single day. Sometime a little bit later than that, but I always spend about an hour teaching the fellows. In the afternoon, I do procedures. Like we have bronchoscopy, a family meeting, and so on. In between, I answer the YouTube question, which I have along, throughout the day. So whenever I have time, like 10 minutes down, I go to the bathroom, I walk around, I just answer. But when I'm not doing anything, I just answer a question all day long. So I was able to manage everything. And by 4 o'clock, I leave the hospital. Other people maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe even later than that, they leave the hospital. But to me, 4 should be it. And once I leave the hospital at 4, I go for an exercise, running, weightlifting, calisthenic, whatever it is. And then after that, I take a shower and relax, either playing piano, drawing, listen to something interesting. And I always, if I can do multiple things at the same time, I would do because I save time. For instance, if I do an exercise, instead of listen to music, I listen to news, either Thai news or CNN or something else, or something interesting to me. So I listen to those things while I'm exercising. So I learn and I get myself stronger and prepare for the next day all at once. So to me, you can squeeze things in. You just have to manage the time well. And I think my time management skills come from the time when I was a medical student, because when I was a 5th-year medical student, I was the chairman of AMSA. Back then, I have to organize the meeting in Thailand, and we have like 400 delegates coming over to Thailand. So it was a big deal that I have to skip my class for 3 weeks straight, but I still have to take the exam at the same time as my friends. So that was something that teach me how to manage my time well. And I think that's basically it is, but might be a little bit too much, but it's doable.
Can I ask for your content creation methodology? And do you have any recommendations for aspiring medical students who are wanting to become content creators like you?
Well, I start with the COVID, right? So COVID is easy. Anything about COVID, I can just make a content about. And then these days, I start to do everything else other than COVID, right? Because I thought, well, I'm a pulmonary doctor. I can start with pulmonary critical care and transplant because that's my professions. So I start by looking through the common problem like pneumonia, COPD, asthma, allergy, those kind of things, right? Smoking, vaping, e-cigarettes, the common stuff, or life in the ICU. Why would ICU patient have any swelling in their legs? Is that dangerous? Why would people with this have problem with something? So I start with those, which is my professions. Initially, I don't want to do anything else. Like I don't want to talk about kidney stone. I don't want to talk about brain or Alzheimer infection, stuff like that, because it's not more my profession. Maybe I don't know a lot. But then one tipping point is that I start watching other channel who's talking about all those topics, and they're not even a specialist. They're doctors, but they're not specialists. And when they talk about something, I said, they don't know a lot. It's very, very superficial. They always tell people, it's like, okay, here are 5 things that you should not be doing if you want to prevent cancer. Do this 10 thing to prevent kidney stone. These are 5 signs of cirrhosis. To me, that's like superficial, and you cannot use that knowledge for anything at all. And to me, well, since the non-specialist can say something about thing and they're not very, very detailed, why don't I do the opposite? I'm gonna do the same exact thing, but now with more details. So if you watch my video, they are quite in-depth, even for the doctors, even for the specialists sometimes. So for pulmonary doctors, sometimes I say something that even pulmonary doctor doesn't even know about, but in our field. So I try to go as deep as possible, but I change the language so normal people can understand what I mean. So I try to say something that if you graduate the 12th grade, you understand what I say. It might be a little bit difficult, but 12th grade is my go-to. I don't want to target, okay, 5 years old should understand my talk. Well, no, they don't know what the gallbladder is, right? So I said, okay, maybe I do this, they would understand a little bit more. And as for the younger generation who want to become a content creator, I think they're a lot better than me. Um, I don't know if you know one of your seniors. Her name's An. She shadowed me she shadowed me about a month or two ago, and she has a lot of skill in video editing and Instagram and stuff like that. Say, hey, this is interesting. I never know how to do it. And she's like sitting there and working on her iPad. And it's like maybe 30 minutes later, she has all this presentation ready. Oh, this is fast. It's fascinating. It's interesting that younger generation are very familiar with iPad and other apps, you know. So to me, you have a head start. You know how to make things interesting for your own generations. Me, I'm a little bit older. I don't think I can make things that interesting for your generation. So you have a head start. You're better than me in that regards. But if you want to do something you really like. Do something that you're not going to burn out. Do something that's you. Do something that you don't have to pretend to become. Because if you pretend to become something, if you don't like that thing, but you're forced to do it, eventually you're going to quit. I don't know if you notice there are a lot of people that quit. Sometimes say, oh, this is enough. I don't want to do this anymore. It's been 12 years since I started my channel. This is a goodbye video. And then, you know what? They start to leak up some video afterwards, a little bit. But those videos usually is actually more them. And the reason for that is because they might start with passion, but then passion become business. Business means they have to hire a lot of people to do their content and channel and stuff like that, admin and so on. Now their role of content creator shift to becoming an entrepreneur that have to take care of all these people, make sure they have enough salary and stuff like that. You have to manage them. So you become a manager, not content creator anymore. And then you lose your passion that way. And you keep on this track for a while. Since it's not something you like to do, then you burn out. Once you burn out, you dissolve everything, you start from scratch again. Maybe you take a couple of months off and then come back, create the same thing again. So this is when you did not stick with your passion and start to become industrialized or do more business model. So to me, if you want to become a content creator, do whatever you really like to do. That's you. You don't have to do exactly that other people are doing. Even though it's something that people are doing already, still fine as long as do you, because people are not the same. There's no way that other people who are doing something good is going to be exactly the same as you because you are not them, they're not you. So you're going to have your own niche. So to me, just do it. Put out the first video. Initially, it has to be more consistent, not like one video and then 3 months later, another one. People will not remember you. So do it more consistently, maybe once a week, something like that, or you come up with your own time that you can do consistently. And if you don't know if you can keep that promise or not, pre-record something, just like I did. I pre-record something because certain days I'm on service, I cannot record anything. That would be my suggestion to you guys.
Before we wrap up, can you give the audience here, the listeners here, a place of contact to contact you in case they have any more questions?
You can contact my via my YouTube channels at any time. But if you are in medical fields, medical professions, medical students, everything, I really want to help you guys because I know how difficult it is. And when I was young and when I was looking for something. So you're okay to contact my either Instagram or YouTube channels. It's the entire name, Tany Thaniyavarn. You can contact me, but do mention is that you are from where, right? You're a medical student from this institution, what year you're in. So I know that you're from the medical institutions, not just like random guy who just like want to contact me because I don't usually answer those accounts. I answer only someone I really want to answer, and I really want to help you guys out. So if you were to have any questions, just contact me directly at either Facebook or Instagram. That'd be fine. Or if you want to comment on my YouTube channel as well, I look at each question, each comment myself. I never have any admin, so I answer everything myself. So you rest assured that it's always going to be me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being an inspiration to medical students, to doctors, and to people who are just interested in medical education as well. You're an inspiration to all, and to me as well, also because I also watch your videos.
Well,
Thank you
thank you
so
very
much.
much for being come for looking at things that I like to put out there.
Thank you so much for coming today. I think your video on like napping really helped me with a lot of my stress. Also, like power napping, 10-20 minute nap. Thank you so much for like making content and also educating so many youth and medical students, all not in just in Thailand, but also Thai medical students outside Thailand or like graduates who are like studying abroad right now. You're an inspiration. Thank you so much for coming today.
Yeah, no problems. My pleasure. I hope that my video will keep inspiring you guys in a good ways. And in the future, I will likely gonna need your help as well, for sure, because I'm gonna be old at that time and you're gonna be younger generation. It's a lot better than I do right now.